Thank you for staying with us. I haven't still gotten over that fact we came across some months ago here about the number of cells in the human body.
How many trillion?
More than 37 trillion cells. Blood cells, bone cells, body cells.
37 trillion.
37 trillion cells.
And this...
It's a construct, please. It's a construct.
Let's just say the work of God.
I'm telling you, all knit together. The bone cells are not in the blood cells. The body cells are not in the blood cells. It's the blood cells in the blood cells. And they also have names. Okay, we're not in a biology class. But you know, blood is essential to life, carries oxygen and all the essential nutrients to help your body perform the way it ought to perform.
Like the machine that it is.
Like the machine that it is. I saw a movie years ago showing how the organs of the body move from place to place. I can't even just picture that in my head. Well, how do you keep the blood healthy? How do you ensure that your blood is performing optimally so that you live the kind of life that you need to live? How do you align your lifestyle with a healthy blood? Dr. Bodrin Yoshikomaya joins us this morning. She's a consultant hermatologist. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me here once again.
Welcome again.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
It is so easy to take for granted how our blood works. It's so easy to take for granted that we have blood in the system.
Yeah.
And of course, it is also so easy for us to live so, quote unquote, carelessly that we injure the blood without knowing it. What are some of those risks that we take without knowing?
First of all, what we take into our body really matters. And you know, the blood is within our body. So if your diet, the things you drink, alcohol, cigarette smoking, eating lots of junk food, living a sedentary lifestyle, all those things, one way or the other, affects the blood. So it exposes us to the risks involved in having an unhealthy blood. Actually, let me use that word. For example, you need adequate amount of blood in your body. And if you do not eat well, it is inadequate, you do not have the energy, the blood is unable to perform its functions like moving oxygen from place to place, taking your waste products from different parts of the body to organs like the kidney where it is excreted. Your body is unable to perform adequate immune functions. You know, you said something that the blood has different parts and you didn't want it to be a biology class. But no, the blood is not just red cells. We have the platelets, we have the white blood cells. And so if you do not take care of your body very well, if you do not take care of your blood very well, it will affect your immune system and then you can be prone to sicknesses. And then we have things like living a sedentary lifestyle and the blood begins to clot. I do not know if you've heard of conditions like thromboembolisms before. So there's so many things we do right now that has become a daily lifestyle that can put us at a lot of risk.
Please help us understand this sedentary lifestyle because working from home is becoming a thing.
Yes.
Increasingly.
Increasingly.
There is nothing you can do about that.
Yes, I agree.
So help us there, because more and more people would rather work from home than go out. So help us get the balance?
So it's right now, we don't really have a choice but to work from home in many, many conditions. So if you are working from home, we need to do some extra things, like do exercises every few minutes, stand up, not sit down for a long time, ensure that you are able to implement 1 hour exercises a day.
1 hour?
Yes. Those are the mandated, recommended hours for exercises.
Why are you laughing?
You know, it might just be walks. You might walk around. 1 hour isn't so much. You're sitting down, you stand up for a few minutes, 5 minutes here and there.
Let me help you understand.
Let
me help you understand what you're saying.
Yes.
So here is a Nigerian whose car broke down has to leave home like very early. I don't even want to imagine how early. Now, this fellow is in traffic, almost 2-3 hours to get to work, gets to work, works, gets back home at whatever odd or even hour.
8 p.m.
And this fellow is supposed to do what?
So in
1 hour
between,
exercise?
So in between those periods, he's walking from place
At work.
to place. Before he gets to work, he's walking to the bus stop because his car is broken down. He's going to walk to the bus
So
stop.
his car hasn't broken down.
His car hasn't broken down. He gets to work.
He drives
in
to
between.
work.
Yes, he drives to work. In between, during your breaks, you must be deliberate about it. You stand up for a few minutes. You walk around for a few minutes. During your break, instead of sitting down to eat, you can go elsewhere to eat. Instead of staying in the cafe, instead of eating on your table, you can decide to walk over to the cafeteria, eat with group of
even
friends.
in the course of doing his work,
yes, there is.
when he's thinking, for
always,
instance, he can get
you can
up
always
and
do
walk.
something in between. Exercising doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. Hope you understand. It doesn't mean you have to put on your exercise gear and do some particular active exercises.
I just like the idea.
Yes.
But while that makes a whole world of sense, at least now you know that you don't have to go to the gym to exercise. But then making a deliberate thing out of it, it's another thing. We'll come to that. But we're speaking, about the blood now.
Yeah.
How do you know that you have a concern in your blood system? I don't know if it's...
My very question.
Yes.
I don't know if it's something that is so pronounced that you will know once it happens. Is it something that happens suddenly or something that builds up?
Yes, it's something that builds up over time.
But you won't know when it starts.
How would I know?
So first of all, it depends on what you want to know. You look at the functions of the blood. What are the functions of the blood that will not work well? And how are you going to be able to identify it? So let's start from being anemic. It is inadequate. You start feeling weak. You start feeling dizzy. Easy fatigability. You get tired easily. Then you begin to know that there's something wrong. Once it comes to, blood moves oxygen around the body. You start becoming breathless. You begin to wonder, what is wrong with me? Because the blood is inadequate to move your oxygen from place to where you need it. The blood performs what? Excretory functions. So if the blood is if it's not adequate or is having functional issues, it affects the kidneys on the long run. So there are so many things that happens. What about if the platelets are not enough? You have a wound, then you bleed more or longer than when the period of time you should have bled. So by the time the blood has issues, those ideal functions that you should notice are unable to be performed. And then begin to notice that there's something wrong. But this does not just happen at once. It's a gradual thing.
If I become sluggish, if I begin to feel dizzy, then I should go and see the doctor.
Yes, it just might be the blood.
So what do I say to the doctor? I just tell him that I'm feeling...
Doctor, I don't feel the way I should. I don't feel my normal self. I feel sluggish. I feel tired. Can I have a complete health check? Can I have a routine health check, even if you're not feeling sluggish?
Okay, you started by saying that what you put in your body also contributes, adds up to the quality of your blood. What kinds of things should I be eating to make sure that I have a healthy blood?
So foods with high iron contents are very
Such
good.
as?
Vegetables, green vegetables, legumes, beans, red meats, beautiful. They have a high iron content. You also need foods with high vitamin content like folates. Carrots, also vegetables have a lot of folates and vitamin B codes there. So you need to take all those things. You also need foods that can help to absorb a lot of iron. Citruses help to absorb iron. So, if you have citrus, oranges, apples too, apart from citruses, they help your body to absorb a high content of iron, which will help your body to form more blood.
On that, just a quick one.
Yes.
My apologies for butting in. On that blood part, orange citrus parts.
Yes.
There are some times that we hear some people say certain people with certain conditions should not take oranges and quote unquote acidic content.
Yeah. So people with peptic ulcer disease, we try to encourage them not to take too much acidic things. But we have a whole range of things you can take. If you can take citruses, we have other things. You can continue with your vegetables. They also give you what you need. And apart from what you eat, what about water? A lot of water helps your body to rehydrate itself. It helps to increase the circulation. It helps to ensure that all those toxins your body is taking also gets to the kidney and is excreted fast. So apart from the food you eat, a lot of water and rehydration also goes a long way.
I imagine that this issue of healthy blood is something that begins from when one is young. Am I correct?
When you are in utero,
Oh,
even before
you come out. Okay, fine.
Because
fine,
blood
fine.
forms right from when you are in the womb.
Yes. And you're talking now about vegetables being an integral part of actually building up, what's the word now? Healthy blood.
Healthy blood, your blood cells.
Okay. And children are quite notorious for not eating vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make children eat vegetables so that they begin having healthy blood?
Let me give you my experience. My kids till now do not like vegetables, no matter how much you spice the vegetables.
I still don't like vegetables.
They still do not like vegetables. So one of the things I try to do is just to give them something. Okay, if you take your vegetables, you are going to watch an extra TV program. If you take your vegetables, I'm going to take you
incentives.
somewhere, you know. So it encourages them to take it. And I try to you need to make the vegetables exciting for kids. Sometimes I'll tell them, if you take this, whosoever makes the loudest noise while eating the carrots is going to get something. I'm going to give you an extra pack of juice in your lunch bag. So my children till now do not like vegetables. So you need to make it exciting. You need to let them understand that when you take it, you'll be healthier.
I wonder what you're going to promise Alero, who doesn't like vegetables at almost 71.
I'll give you extra pomo. I know you like pomo. Where are you the one that likes pomo? Somebody likes pomo, yeah.
As I was saying.
More vegetables, more pomo.
Okay, well, for her it would be more chocolates.
More chocolate.
Thank you.
But let me ask
Thank
this.
you.
Yes.
She asked a question the other time about intakes
Yes,
that
please.
encourage blood flow. How about the things we breathe in? I ask that because there are long queues now at fuel stations.
Oh dear.
People have to breathe in all kinds of things.
Fumes.
Clean, unclean, gas, petrol, all kinds of things.
Monoxide from the cars.
Please, help us.
So, as I said earlier, blood helps to excrete toxins from your body. So when you breathe in, it just gives the blood more work to do because the blood because you are breathing in more carbon monoxide, there's less oxygen to go to your vital organs.
And the blood is weaker as a result.
Well, I didn't say the blood just has more work to do. Blood has to do more work to make sure that the carbon monoxide and all those things are excreted. When you breathe in, it goes into your lungs. That is the first part. It is when it gets to the lung that the lung tries to remove all the toxins. That's why you see some smokers, if you see their lungs, it is dark. So all those toxins remain in the lungs. The ones that gets to the blood has to be transported around the body. So what we breathe in directly does not affect the blood, just that the blood does more work to ensure that the body gets the right amount of oxygen.
Okay, so here we are now. There are vulnerabilities that all kinds of people have.
Yeah.
I really wish we didn't have to talk about the blood diseases and the build up into them today. Maybe some other time we'll talk about blood diseases and how to avoid them. But for today, still talking about keeping the blood healthy. At what stage of life do we unwillingly or inadvertently begin to create injuries into our blood system or into our lifestyles without knowing it?
From birth, it happens all the time. From the time you give me, your body keeps having a lot of injuries, and without your knowledge, your body is trying to work on those injuries and repair those injuries. So from birth, even in utero, your body is doing a lot of damage control working, and that is why we really do need to take care of our bodies. Those cells get damaged and new cells become formed. However, as you grow older, your body is unable to do as much work as it used to do. So what I did at a younger age, in my early 20s, I may not be able to do them at this age. So the body is always having exposure to injuries. And at the same time, the body has mechanisms to ensure that those injuries are well repaired, and so you are in a healthy state.
Now, you talked about, a young age now. What are practices that young people are involved in now that they need to adjust so that their lifestyles are better as they grow older?
We need to do a lot of exercises. We are so work prone. We are so work prone. We always want to do a lot of things.
Keeps
yes, I have to
cropping
go
up.
back. Yes, because the truth is that we do so much and we do not understand that we're endangering our lives, and our blood needs to. The blood circulation really means a lot, because if your blood does not circulate well, then you are prone to a lot of blood clots, and that is why we have a lot of people dropping dead now. Slunty died. Could it be a heart attack? Could it be a pulmonary embolism? There are so many conditions that are related to sedentary lifestyles.
What is pulmonary embolism?
Pulmonary embolism
We're not doctors.
Pulmonary embolism, pulmonary, that's the lungs, embolism, that's a blood clot. So if you sit down for a long time, or if you have risks to developing, like having high blood pressure, diabetics, and being overweight, understand, blood clots can come from different parts of your body and go get stuck in the lungs. And that could be very, very critical.
What is DVT?
Deep venous thrombosis. So deep venous thrombosis is deep vein thrombosis. So usually it's very common with the limbs. Also related
It's not a clot.
It is a clot. So there's a clot in your limbs. It's common in the limbs. There's a clot in any part of your body, usually much more in the limbs. And then it moves on from different parts of your body, and it could lead to pulmonary embolism. So pulmonary embolism is a very common complication of deep venous thrombosis. And all these are related to that sedentary lifestyle. They're also related to other things like smoking, drinking, conditions like cancers, being overweight. Even pregnancy can give you a risk to developing deep venous thrombosis.
Oh, really?
Yes, please.
And that's scary.
Is that avoidable?
Yes, it's avoidable.
How?
I've told you, back to
exercising.
That word again.
And avoiding things, acts like smoking. Because smoking, it damages the vessels. And so once the vessels are damaged, the body is prone to developing these clots too, even if you're not overweight.
Madam, we have just about 5 minutes.
Yes. Please.
But I want to ask, you've talked about our nutrition.
Yes, please.
That people should pay attention to nutrition.
And hydration.
And hydration. Hydration is probably easier because it's just water, even though it can be very common. However, I was sharing a joke yesterday with someone. And when I was growing up, rice was twice a year.
Christmas Day
and
Easter.
Outside of that, you wait for another Christmas. But today, it's almost like the options are so limited. Rice, beans, yam, that's it. That's what it looks like.
There's eba, there's amala.
Okay, well, those.
There's
now,
semo.
I'm asking that because, if the options are so few, that in this age and time, how then does one spice up the meals enough to be able to generate this thing that you're talking about and live healthy?
Yes, you said a word. We both mentioned the word earlier. We have to be deliberate about our lifestyle. You need to know that you need this and you must have it. We also need to know that the large amount of food we are eating might not be what we exactly need. We also need to understand that there are very cheap vegetables that we could also have, like okra, like ewedu. There are also cheap vegetables that we can easily go to the market and have. So we need to plan our diets. It is quite expensive to take vegetables and fruits. Recently, I wanted to buy fruit and I asked for the cost, and it seems as if the cost had doubled. And the cost of buying that particular vegetable can buy me two, what do we call it, 2 bundles of vegetables, like maybe greens. So we need to actually plan this diet.
Greens are not too tasty.
They are not too tasty, but we need them. So as I said, we need to plan our diets. We need to understand that whatever we want to eat must contain this particular thing, no matter how small the amount is. And if you do that, we will be able to get there. I know that you're going to ask that. Things are quite difficult. How are we going to help to do this? But it all comes back to the fact that we need to plan our diets.
I noticed that you posted something about World Cancer Day.
Hey, you saw that?
Yes, I did. How vulnerable are we as a people in that regard?
Well, cancer is the prevalence and incidence of cancers are increasing daily, and that is why we are telling people to be more aware. Somebody told me that he does not think that the prevalence has increased, but we are becoming more aware
of it,
and we're
yes.
having more sensitive investigative means and channels to diagnose all these things. So cancer is there. Some of them do not have a cure. Some of them have cures. Some of them you do not really know the cause, but there are lots of risks that predisposes people to different cancers. So cancer is a whole different topic. We can be prone to it and we might not be prone to it. It depends on whatever the risks are.
What's the blood got to do with it?
Well, there are some blood groups that are more prone to cancers. There are some that are not. And we have blood cancers too.
Which blood groups?
No, it depends on the cancer. So don't think about it. You have to go from cancer to cancer. They are just risks to it. I found that it can be more common in some particular blood groups. That is some particular types of cancers. We also have blood cancers that exist. The leukemias are there. The lymphomas are there. They're all sorts of cancers. How does one know
if one has blood cancer?
Well, it comes to one of the things that happens with blood cancers is that it affects the counts. So dizziness, you feel dizzy, you are tired, you are having fever, you are wondering why your blood is not clotting. I have a wound and it's not clotting. Some people have swellings all over their necks, swellings in their armpits. Those are the lymphomas. Some people will have swellings in their abdomens. Either the spleen is bigger or the liver is bigger. So there are different symptoms to different forms of blood cancers. And we really do need to help to close the gap. That is the theme for this year, as well as the slogan, we need to close the gap. And I posted that, donate blood and help to close the gap, because the care of a cancer patient is so multi-dimensional, and we really need to do a little bit more to save the life of our cancer patients in Nigeria.
We could go on and on about this. I think that's some kind of precursor to our next conversation, which will be about blood diseases and how to avoid them. I sincerely, I'm not looking forward to it, but it just has to happen.
I don't like the look on your face.
It is worrying.
It is.
It is worrying.
It is very worrying.
It is worrying. It is worrying. But we can do a little bit more.
Yes.
We can do a little bit more.
Well, we should just help ourselves by eating right, by exercising.
Yeah.
And have
even
regular
if it is just
checks.
Walking around our offices, you know.
We need to have regular hospital checks, regular investigations. You don't need to be sick before you go to the hospital. You also need to know that.
Yeah. I'm going to get up after this segment just to stretch my legs.
Okay.
Dr. Boduri.
I've been sitting for almost 3 hours now.
You need to stand up.
Boduri Oshikomaya is a consultant hermatologist. Thank you so much
for being
here this morning.
Thank you very, very much.
Well, one other thing that we understand helps you to increase oxygen in the blood is to laugh, and listen to music. To call some oxy, whatever it is. We'll talk about that and a number of other things when we return. Do stay with us.